Yo, still Mills, what's the deal, man? It's just one day down, one day complete. You feel me? We heading to the crib right now. It's hot as hellfire out here. So, yeah, that's how the story go. But Peep Gang, we got to get in more of these fights from last week, right? And the fight we got to talk about is Subriel Vs versus Alberto Puello, man. Man, listen. If I didn't say it before, I want to say it now. I'm officially a Subriel Vs fan. Officially. Because you know, as I stated in my prediction video when it came to them two, man, I couldn't really make a decision on who I figured would win. I thought it would be a 50-50 fight, and I feel like that was the most competitive bout. Well, I didn't see. I'm about to go home and watch Kataya versus Morel, but from the fights that I saw, that seemed to be the most evenly matched fight on the card, and it turned out to be that, man. One thing I saw from Subriel off rip was his foot speed, and it wasn't like angles or nothing like that. It was just his ability when like the ref would break the clinch. It was his ability to get from where he was at, and the ref wouldn't just come in between him and then back up and no, he pushed Subriel Matias back, and it was the ability of a Matias for him to get from where he was at, because we talking it's about 10 feet between the two of them, or maybe about 8 feet or so between the two of them, from the ref pushing him back a little bit more, and the speed in which he was able to close the distance in that small time frame. He'd be way on the other end of the ring, and he'd be right in that nigga's chest within a millisecond, man. I thought that was pretty remarkable, bro. Like, I don't know if Alberto Puello was slow on his feet, or if Matias is just, he worked on his foot speed and his ability to cut the ring off. But that's one thing I noticed that off rip. And he was doing it for all 12 rounds in the bout, bro. He started in the first round pinning Alberto Puello to the rope, and I made a status on Facebook like, yo, this fight ain't gonna go 8 rounds, bro. Because he's breaking this dude down, man. He's pinning him to the rope, and he's doing significant damage. And Alberto Puello was already breathing with his mouth open. So I'm like, oh, yeah, this shit is about to get ugly for this nigga. I did give Alberto Puello the first round. You dig? I gave him the first round. I thought he landed the cleaner work. You dig? I thought he landed the cleaner work. I thought Subriel Vs was still trying to get into a rhythm. And I was like, all right, yeah, he got that round. But by the time the second round came around, I was like, yo, he is on this nigga's ass right now. And it wasn't, he did the same thing throughout the duration of the fight. The difference was he was a lot more precise with his punches in the set from rounds 2 on, until Alberto started picking up steam on the back end of the fight. But it was just his ability to, cut the ring, not even cut the ring off. Because usually it's a process that people go through to get, you're cutting the ring off, and then you eventually work your magic and find a way to pin him to the rope. He was just pinning this dude to the rope off rip. I'm like, man, what the fuck is up with this nigga? Just pinning him to the rope and going to work, man. I thought that was real good work from Subriel Vs, man. Entertaining fight, man. Entertaining fight. He's hitting him to the body. He's just hitting him, shoot. And what, just... Subriel is a lot like Beterbiev, where just they're heavy punches, but you won't be able to, because on rip it looked like he's just doing this. So he's not getting hella leverage on the shot, but the shots seem to take so much effect on a nigga that it wears him down. Him and Artur Beterbiev are like the only two dudes that I can think of that do that shit, where it's like they don't even look like they getting they hit behind the shot. They're not turning into the shot. It looks like they just arm punches, and is doing significant damage. But I just don't understand how these dudes are able to generate that type of power. But yeah, man. So that was the story up until what round? Maybe 9. I want to say from rounds 2 to like 8, bro. Subriel was dominating those rounds. He was dominating those rounds, and I think he expected to get him the fuck up out of there. And in that small moment, you started to see Subriel begin to fade. The pace was starting to catch up to him, and it wasn't like it was. Hold on, god damn. Oh, hold up. Man. Yeah, like I was saying, the pace was starting to catch up to him, and it wasn't like it was the pace that Alberto Puello was setting. It was Subriel's own pace. Dude was just straight, all gas, no brakes, man. And that, you know, that eventually wore on him when the dude proved to be a lot more durable than he expected. And I mean, this nigga just up in every fight that he's won up until Saturday, he was outlining niggas in chalk. That's a high KO ratio. That's a high KO ratio, man. And, you know, for him to do up until now, Jeremiah's Ponce was his best win. And after Ponce, you know, just now you got a legitimate champion on your, like, you took a belt off of a legitimate champion, bro. So, like, you know, just in all, like I said, in all those fights, he's getting niggas about the paint. So I just figured I'm about to get rid of this dude because of the string of rounds that he ended up winning. But, you know, he started gassing down the stretch. The punch just didn't have as much sting on him, and that's when you really started to see Alberto Puello really, oh shit, he gassed. Now it's my time to shine. That's when you started seeing him land the uppercuts, and those were awkward ass uppercuts too. It was because it was done at like a distance, man. It looked like it was a little bit of wine to him, and it would send him on some Mortal Kombat shit or some Street Fighter shit. Like his head would, you know, like, oh shit, like, okay, that was a good. And he'd still find, like, this dude. I don't know if, because you know, just I kind of fight like that as well. When I'm tired, when I'm gassed, I have nothing else to offer. The least I can do is come forward, because it takes less energy going forward than it does going backwards. It takes less. And why? Because that's just the natural way to walk. That's just the natural way to walk. You got to listen to your body. So walking forward is not as taxing as walking backwards. Now factor into the fact that you have to defend yourself while walking backwards. You gotta keep your hands up. Defending yourself ain't just head movement, man. It's keeping your hands up, holding the phone so don't no shots get through. That shit is physically exhausting in itself too. So if you got to do that, you may as well do it in a manner where you're at least you're at least following the natural movements of your body, which is going forward. So I do that as well. And I think he's so hardwired to just walk forward, even when this nigga ain't in position to throw punches, you know, from a physical standpoint, he is just marching forward. And that's what he does. And that's what makes that shit so scary. And with him, he's still letting his hands go. They're not stinging like they once were, but he's letting his hands go. Now, granted, it is leading him into countering opportunities. He's getting walked into traps. He's getting kept off balance. The uppercuts is landing, but he's still walking forward. This nigga is Michael Myers, dog. Jason Voorhees, just whatever. Or I'm gonna say he was fuck, Luther, what was my man name off Tales from the Hood that them crooked cracker ass police killed? He was the activist in the community on Tales from the Hood. He was the first story that was told on Tales from the Hood. Police killed him and he came back from the dead and got rid of them niggas. All praises due. That's who Subriel reminds me of. No matter what the fuck you hit this nigga with, he's just gonna continue to march forward. He's gonna continue to march forward. That is some scary shit to deal with, bro. So I thought the right man won the fight. I'm not mad at anybody who thinks that Alberto Puello won the fight, because he did rally on later on in that fight. I would say I had it maybe 7-5 or some shit like that. So I would say, let me see, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would say like 7-5 or something. I would say something like that. But that was an entertaining matchup right there, bro. It was no dry spots in there, bro. It was just, they was just in there brawling, bro. I love that shit. And that is the shit that we need in this sport, bro. If you're going to fight, if you're going to outbox, do it like we had 2 outboxers show y'all how to fight like that. And that is Ellie Scotney and Shakur Stevenson. And Katie Taylor. And Katie. And we're going to talk about the ladies as well, because they put on an incredible show for themselves as well. But Subriel Matias is a dude that I'm officially a fan of if I wasn't ever a fan of him, bro. I dig that shit. I dig that. And I'm appreciating him more because all of the, just the shit that they're giving the pressure fighters. all the shit, the bullshit that they're giving pressure fighters. That man showed you once again pressure bursts pipes. And Alberto Puello is a back foot fighter. Alberto Puello is a dude who likes to work behind the straight shots. That is who Alberto Puello's fighting identity is. And he found a way around that shit. And now he's a 2-time champion. And that was a damn good win. I mean, shit, Alberto Puello beat Sandor Martin and fucking Gary Antoine Russell. Those are solid, those are really good wins under his on his resume. And for him to go out there and get outgunned like that, that speaks to the level of Subriel Vs. And nobody is overrating him. That's the thing that I've said that once before, and I'm gonna say it again. Nobody is saying that this dude is just. The only thing that we're giving credence to is his level of aggression and how dangerous of a puncher he is. We're not saying that he has this immaculate head movement. We're not saying that he's just this incredible counter puncher. But I did see him employ good defense early on in the fight. I seen him getting up under shots. One shot in particular, Alberto Puello threw a two. He threw a two. He leads with his right hand, so he threw two right hook, a double right hook. Threw a right hook to the body. He caught it on the elbow, and he finished off the combination with a hook, and he got up under the hook. Just little shit like that. You dig? And this is in round one. Usually until I say it take him about 4 rounds or whatever for him to start employing head movement or whatever, man. For him to come out like that in the first round, and I'm not saying that he does it, just he did that throughout the duration of the fight, because honestly he didn't need to. I'm just saying what I saw off rip. They went in there and prepped for a fight of this magnitude. So I'm saying, man, like, the dude did good work. The dude did real good work. He did his role work, man. He prepped it, he game planned for this fight properly. And I fucks with Subriel, man. I'm more of a fan now with Subriel Vs than I've ever been, because I'm tired of the bullshit that the pressure fighter is getting. I'm tired of it. I'm a bigger fan of Williams Zepeda in the now than I was before. Why? Because I'm tired of the bullshit that the pressure fighter is getting. Williams Zepeda came up short. Subriel Vs did. Both of them pressure fighters, both of them dope at their style of fighting, and both of them are, they make for entertaining bouts, and both of them are good for the game. I have no issue with what I saw out of fucking Subriel Vs. I have no issue with what I saw out of Williams Zepeda. Shakur Stevens just proved to be just too much to deal with. He proved to be too much to deal with. And that's A-okay. Because most fighters ain't going to be able to look. Most fighters are going to look like that in front of Shakur Stevenson because of how, at least at 135, because of how defensively immaculate this dude is. This dude is going to be remembered as a Parnell Whitaker, Floyd Mayweather-esque type of fighter when he hangs it up. He is going to be remembered in that ilk. And we're going to talk about Shakur Stevenson more because of the bullshit that I'm seeing with this comparison, because of how he looked in there with Williams Zepeda, that means Tank is going to be. We're going to talk about that too, because I've been hearing this shit a little too much, and it's really getting on my nerves. But shout out to Subriel Vs. Shout out to Alberto Puello, man. I don't want you lost in a tough matchup that could have went either way. One judge had it a draw. I was a little nervous because I thought he was going to win that fight, honestly. I thought he was going to win that fight. But they gave it to Subriel, man. So I don't, just the 180-pound division is deep. You dig? You already beat Sandor and Gary Antoine Russell. We got Teofimo Lopez. We got Richardson Hitchens. Liam Pyro is still up there. It's still good work up there at 140 pounds, man. Now we got Dalton Smith versus Sue. And that's another thing, man. I love that. Bro, there's nothing you can say to talk greasy about Turkey, man, because the dude is, we making big fights over here. We making big fights, and I think they talking about putting him on the undercard of the David Benavidez fight, him versus Dalton Smith. We getting unifications. We getting, we're getting mandatories honor, fighters, champions honoring their mandatories. What more can you ask for? Outside of, pay-per-views, I don't think this shit need, I think it's time to chill with the pay-per-views, because y'all having the game, y'all got the game fucked up. We're going to talk about that as well. But the fact that he brought Dalton Smith into the ring, like, nah, we finna start promoting this shit right now. I dig that shit. That's smart right there. That's smart. And it's giving another fighter an opportunity. You're getting known. You're getting your brand, put out there to the public. Yeah, bro. Just here we go. Here we go. So, shout out to them, man. Shout out to Subriel Matias. Shout out to Alberto Puello, man. I love him, man. I love what I'm seeing. I fucks with it, man. It's shit, man. Hopefully, if Richardson Hitchens doesn't leave the division by the end of the year, I would love to see the winner of Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith go and holler at him, or have goddamn Teofimo Lopez go holler at Richardson Hitchens. Go have him holler at Richardson Hitchens. I'm cool with that. Let's get some unifications going on here, man. Who's all changing? It's Subriel, Gary Antoine Russell. I'm tripping. Yeah, that's the Gary Antoine Russell, Subriel Matias, Teofimo, Richardson Hitchens. Man, go line up Richardson Hitchens versus Teofimo Lopez, and let Gary Antoine Russell brawl out with Gary Antoine Russell. Man, y'all have a common opponent. Y'all have a common opponent. Richardson Hitchens and Teofimo Lopez, y'all have a common opponent, man. Let's start making these matchups. Let's start making this happen. Jermaine Ortiz, let's get Jermaine Ortiz versus Alberto Puello, even though that's probably gonna be a boring fight. But I think Jermaine Ortiz is deserving of, I think he's deserving of another shot. I would like to see him back in the mix. But let's just do the damn thing, man. Let's keep this thing in motion. This grass really needs to be cut. My grass looking like a jungle in the front and in the back. I ain't gonna have no time to do it. It's gym day, Monday through Wednesday, and I got my surgery on Thursday, so I ain't gonna have no time to do this shit. And I gotta get this shit handled mean. So yeah, man. But yeah, that's practically all I had to say about it, man. Shout out to Subriel Matias. I hope Turkey can make after this Dalton Smith fight. I hope we get a unification popping off. Richardson, you got to do something. Gary Antoine Russell, you got to do something. Let's get these unifications going on, man. I'm about to go check out this Morel versus Katayev fight, man. So I'll get with y'all later. Doses.